Good afternoon. This is Nick with Alliance Solutions Group. Thanks everyone for attending. It's 11:01 in California and 2:01 in Florida, so we'll get underway. As you know, I think we've got mostly Sage clients on the phone, some not, but Alliance is always looking for the latest and greatest technology. Mike Griffith and Glenn West and Andy Rashid always are looking for the next best thing. So we've had seen a growth or a need for HR systems, and because we're in construction, most of our clients are either on Sage 300 or Sage 100, and we're also seeing a more demand for web-based technology. So Glenn and Mike went out and did a bunch of research on many different HR options, and after a pretty lengthy search, we have selected InfinityHR as probably the best web-based technology out there. So it interfaces with Sage 300 today. It was a custom interface that they had built, and they are just about complete with the Sage 100 interface as well. So I would like to introduce Mike Albrisi. He'll be taking over from here, and go ahead, Mike.
Thanks, Nick. Appreciate it. Good afternoon, everyone. As Nick said, my name is Mike Albrisi, and I'm with InfinityHR, and we've got a few PowerPoint slides that we just want to go through. So before we do that, just want to talk to you about the webinar details. The presentation is roughly going to be right around an hour. All the phone lines are muted, but if you have any questions, you'll see on your GoToMeeting chat box. All you have to do is click into it. You can ask a question. Please don't hold your questions until the end. Feel free to ask questions on the fly, as Alex and/or I would like to address them as we go through this instead of having a lot of questions that we answer at the end. And it helps with that dialogue. Even though you're asking the question through the chat box, we can get that answer out to you immediately. And again, my name is Mike Albrisi. I'm the ERP Channel Director at Infinity Software Solutions. And Alex Lamb will also be joining me. Alex is a solutions consultant with Infinity Software Solutions as well. So a little bit about InfinityHR. The company was founded in 2002. We are located in Scottsdale, Arizona, our corporate location. It's important to understand that Infinity found its legs and was focused on a benefit management engine calculation solution, and really expanded to what it is today and what you'll see today, which is a full-on HCM solution. Currently, there's about 1,800 companies that rely on Infinity every single day, and that equates out to about 600,000 lives. And our client size ranges anywhere from about 25 employees as our smallest organization on it, to our largest is about 18,000 active employees. It's also important to understand that InfinityHR is very diverse. I know we're talking to majority of the construction-related industry today, but we have many different industries, including construction, that Infinity excels in. We're also proud that we've experienced an average growth rate of about 35% over the last 5 years. So kind of touching on InfinityHR and exactly what it is, I really like to present this wheel because it gives you a flavor of what Infinity can bring to the table. And starting in the upper right-hand corner, it can't be a corner because it's a circle, but starting with the red piece of the puzzle there in applicant tracking, you can see that we have that specific feature. We have benefits management available. InfinityHR also has a complete employee portal, or employee self-service as some people know it. We do have a payroll module. If you do performance reviews, you can do performance reviews based off of your specific requirements. For example, if you have a probation period of 90 or 120 days, you can do a performance review then, or if you do them manually. It has a very powerful report writing feature that allows you to drill into your data, pull your data out as you need it and when you need it. You do have a time and attendance feature. Also have the ability to track time off, so PTO requests, you're able to manage them, track them. We also have ACA reporting features, so you're able to file and report and file electronically on your ACA requirements directly through Infinity. And lastly, we have the workflow management, and kind of going back to time off tracking, an example I like to give is if that employee requests PTO, you can have that data, that request flow to their manager and the HR person, or as many people as you would like. Now, I think the most important thing to understand is you see the Infinity logo in the center. Anytime you make any changes in any of those specific pieces of the puzzle that you see, there's no rekeying of data in another system. There's no pushing of data. All of that information and data is immediately updated because that's a common database concept that we have created. So touching on the Sage 100 and 300 integration, as Nick had said earlier, we have developed integration into 100 Contractor and 300 CRE. When you choose to become an InfinityHR client, it's important to understand that InfinityHR becomes a system of record for all the new hires, terminations and changes, as well as employee demographics and changes in compensation and benefits deductions. By doing this, that data flows into the 300 payroll or 100 payroll seamlessly. But all changes that originate in InfinityHR will move to Sage 100 or 300 CRE. And we're also very close to releasing our next version, which will allow the ability or allow a user to push check stubs from Sage Payroll to InfinityHR's Employee Self-Service portal. We've received a lot of requests from current users of this to be able to push that data back up into the Employee Self-Service module, just so employees have the ability to go and log into one system instead of potentially manage two. And this is an optional feature. Some organizations have asked for this while other ones don't have an interest in it, but I wanted to make everyone aware that that's something that can definitely be done. And now what I'd like to do is turn it over to Alex Lamb. Again, Alex is our solutions consultant to provide you a quick demonstration of the InfinityHR system. Alex, it's all yours.
Great, thanks Mike, and I'd like to thank everyone again for taking the time out to join us. I really appreciate everyone's time. So I'm going to be taking us through the demonstration of the InfinityHR solution today, going through really each one of those different modules that Mike had mentioned, minus our payroll module, at a high level here to give you a good understanding of what we can offer within our solution as far as managing that employee experience from hire to retire. So what I'm going to do now, again, is going to really start out by going through each of those modules at a high level and really go through an employee lifecycle example here for managing that full employee experience. So that first touch of the system or interaction an employee might have with the application will be through our applicant tracking system in that module. So what I'm showing here now and just shared on my screen is an example of the recruiting portal that we would embed within your existing company website. This is on our website, infinity-ss.com. Embedded here with an iframe. It also can go up into a separate web browser window as well if you like. But we can put this in your career opportunities section, employment section, wherever you like that to be housed within your organization's website. And then all the different job openings that you create and manage are going to populate here for applicants to apply to. All these different job openings are created and managed directly from the administrative side of the system. And then they're going to populate here on the recruiting portal, but we can also certainly link out these different job openings to different job boards that you might be utilizing. We do have a ZipRecruiter integration as well, which allows you to send a job post to ZipRecruiter's extensive network of about over 100 different job boards with just one click with that seamless integration. And then also within the applicant tracking module, for any type of pre-employment screening processes you have for your job applicants, if it's drug screens, criminal background checks, things of that nature, we can certainly do that right through the InfinityHR, requesting that through our partner Orico to Career Builder Company, and they can start to begin that pre-employment screening process, and you're able to track that right through the InfinityHR system. So what we see here can look a lot different as well. This is just one example of how this recruiting portal can look. But this is where your job seekers can go ahead and click on the different open positions that you've created here and browse any job requirements that you've set up here as far as just general description about the position, job qualifications or requirements, experience, education, things of that nature there. And then they can go up to the top here and click on the Apply for this job button to apply to this open position. It's going to bring them to this customized electronic application process that you would have set up there. And this can look a lot different than how we have ours set up. It's really a lot of customization available and configuration as far as what information you're gathering or making required by applicants. As far as additional information or additional questions, you can customize those different questions that you're asking your job candidates about these different positions. And they also can include knockout questions. So if you do require a specific license or certification for one of your employees there for a position that you're have open within the organization, we can build that into the additional question section there and make it a knockout question as well to actually take that job candidate out of the application process. So they're not even going to show up in the applicant pool there as far as for your recruiting team. But the applicant's going to go through this process. They'll create a profile here on the recruiting portal, allow them to come back and check on application status, and then also it'll save that job application history. So you can always look back on that from the administrative perspective to see any job that an applicant's ever applied for. Then also they can upload different resumes supporting documentation, and then once they actually do apply to the position, that's when your different recruiters and hiring managers can get automatically notified. We can use that workflow management module that Mike referenced to automate your different processes within your recruiting process there. And then once you do decide to hire that applicant, you can simply convert them into an active employee within the HR system. So there's no need to rekey any of that data. They simply are converted into an active employee with all that information being copied over to their new hire record. So once that applicant is hired, they're going to receive an email notification about how to log into their employee self-service portal. And it's going to prompt them to go to infinityhr.com in their web browser on their computer or mobile device, and then click on this first-time user link here to confirm some information, and then create their actual unique login credentials to their employee self-service portal. So this is an example of that employee portal here that I'm showing now. But just as with that recruiting portal, this can look a lot different. There are a lot of different themes you can easily change from as an administrator as well to change the look and feel of the employee homepage. So just one example that I'm showing. And as far as branding this, very easily done by any type of administrator as far as changing down company logos or updating company information, HR contact info, very easily done by any administrator within the system. And then the My Profile here is going to be for that employee that's logged in. So right here, we're on my sample employee here, Rachel. I'm going to show her contact information here. Also a profile picture that can be uploaded by the employee or by an administrator. This is also nice. It will show in an internal employee directory that employees can access through the portal here. It's always nice for new hires to help put a face to the name there. The announcement section here, again, just very easily updated by any admin within the system, can easily update this periodically within a matter of moments. As far as different announcements, if it's benefits related or anything going on within the organization that we want to bring to the attention of your employees, we can set up here and update in the announcement section. And then we have the My Workspace section here, which is going to be where all the modules that you are utilizing within the InfinityHR system are going to show. And right now here for presentation purposes, I have every module of functionality turned on, but this can certainly look a lot different. We can certainly scale it back to what you're specifically using within the system and what your requirements and needs are. And we can certainly grow with, move at your pace as far as growing with the system. So if you want to add on different features and functionality that you weren't using at a particular time, you can easily do that whenever you're ready to do so as well. And we can get that module implemented very quickly. Quick links, and documents down here at the bottom as well. Just again, very easily updated by any admin within the system. These quick links are just quick internal links that can certainly just show or not show with the simple check of a box as far as FAQs about the employee portal, viewing current benefit coverages, changing passwords to the portal here. Internal job portal as well for any of those openings that are marked as internal as well. This is where your active employees can see those different job openings within your organization and apply. Also for ACA purposes, once you generate your 1095s and they're ready for employee distribution, we can go ahead and put those here on the employee portal and populate those for employees to access here as well. And a question just came in as far as, can you distribute benefit policies through the portal so that employees can sign electronically? Yes, you can. Certainly we can support electronic signatures on documents through our workflow management module, which I'll show in a moment. So we can certainly tie that in through a workflow. And then I'll show you as well how we're going to build in, or how we're able to build in your benefit package and how employees can go through that enrollment process and the different type of logic that we can build into the system as well. So absolutely, though, we can support electronic signatures on documents through our workflow module. The link section here as well, any type of external links that we want employees to access quickly from the home page, if it's a benefit carrier website or anything of that nature, any type of external link that we want employees to be able to access quickly from the home page, we can have populated here under the links section. And then the employee documentation here as well. Any type of documents that we want the employees to have quick access to, we can have upload here and have populated on the employee homepage for employees to access if it's employee handbooks, benefits-related information or documentation there. Anything of that nature, any type of document or video that we want to upload for employees to be able to download and view, we can certainly have here under the document section. And as far as when you do add a document to an individual employee's record, there is an option to check a box to give access on the employee's portal to that document as well. And there's no type of document storage limit within InfinityHR. You can have an unlimited amount of documents stored within the system. So going through a new hire example here, probably has some onboarding paperwork to fill out or sign off on. So here through our workflow module is where upon hire, we can automatically have a onboarding workflow initiate to a new hire. So Rachel would also receive an email notification that this workflow has been initiated to her, prompting her to log in here to begin this workflow process. And this can be for many other different key processes that you might have in your business, as Mike alluded to as well, when it's when a time card is submitted or when a time off request is submitted. These different actions, and those are just a few of those, can trigger these different workflow processes that we have built out here. So here Rachel can begin this process. Just a very basic example here as far as onboarding. You can certainly have as many different steps in a workflow process as need be. And each different step here within a workflow can have a different employee resource assigned to each step. So when it is that resource's turn to complete their step, they'll get an email notification. And we can set up email reminders after that initial notification as often as daily to keep reminding that individual to complete their step, making sure we get these processes done in a timely fashion. So there's a variety of different functionality here for employees to do through workflow steps. As we see here, we can have employees upload documents to workflow steps. The signed offer letter here in this basic example, I can go ahead and select the document here from my computer, and then simply click the upload button here. It'll notify me it was successfully uploaded, and then prompt me, or excuse me, and then I can go ahead and click on this I have completed this step button here to move me along to the next step in the workflow. So upon doing so, that document I just uploaded is now going to be accessible on my employee record to any HR administrator, and it's going to be saved on my record. And then going back to that question about the electronic document signatures, signatures on documents, we can certainly support that through our InfinityHR EasySign software. So here in this, again, basic example here, signing off on an employee handbook acknowledgement document for this new hire. After reading the handbook, Rachel can come here to click and sign and preview the document. And then they can go ahead and click into that text box here to type in their signature, or they can use the drawing tool here to draw their signature. Let's draw her initials there for time's sake. So once we sign the document and we apply the signature, it'll stamp the signature onto the document. These are legally compliant signatures. And then with a date and time stamp, location stamp, reasoning as far as name of the workflow, and then the employee's email address there as well. And we can certainly gather multiple signatures onto a single document. So if this needs to now go to Rachel's manager to sign, or an HR administrator, for example, we can have it go to those next employee resources there to also sign off on this document. So once signing here and applying, I can just X out here and mark this step as complete again to move on. And again, that signed document will now be saved to my employee record for an administrator to access right away there. And as far as new hire paperwork, the I-9 and W-4 are two of our standard forms that we do update when there's any type of updates to those documents. And we've already pre-mapped those within the system. We can certainly do this with other forms as far as pre-filled data, as we'll see in a moment. But here, Rachel can fill in any applicable information into the text boxes and mark off on her checkbox here. And as we see here, we've already mapped the data for this form. We can do this with other types of forms as well, where it'll pre-fill the employee's information. They don't have to go and fill out all their same information for multiple forms. We can map it so it's pulling from Rachel's information in the InfinityHR system and mapping it onto those appropriate fields on the document. And then since I just signed a document in the previous step, it's not going to have me actually sign it again. I can just simply click here to apply. And then again, X out of the document here. So now again, once completing this step, it's going to get saved to my record. And now I'm moving along here to the next step, where it's going to be this next resource here. Nicole is going to now get notified via email that it's her turn to complete this step in this workflow process. So just a very basic example here as far as onboarding. Again, we can use it to automate really any key process within your business. You can have those triggers by different HR activities that are going on. Also, we can have a time-based trigger. So if we want a workflow to go ahead and initiate on a weekly basis, an annual basis, a monthly, and so on and so forth, we can have a time-based trigger as well for these different workflow processes. Don't see any additional questions, but please, if you do have questions, go ahead and type those in, and we'll address those as I'm moving along here. So as far as benefits enrollment goes, so upon implementation of the system, we are going to build in your benefits package and structure, add all those different plans and premium costs, all that data into the system, and then using our rules-based eligibility engine, we're going to build in those different eligibility rules that you might have, determining what employees are eligible for what benefits you offer, what plans, and at what premium costs. So as employees are going through their enrollment process here through their employee portal, that logic will go ahead and apply, so they'll only be seeing the benefits that they're actually eligible for at that point in time. So they will get notified that the event is available here as far as that window, and prompt them to go through the change events icon here to begin that process. But even before doing so, we have the Learn About Your Benefits quick link here in addition to the other links and documentation. We can build all this into the system so we can stop giving that big package of hard copy paperwork about your benefits to your employees. We can build a lot of that information into the system here for employees to go into the different benefits that are offered to them and see some different information as far as links to documentation, plan summaries, different cost information as far as the different coverage levels. And then they can actually do some comparison, side-by-side comparison of these plans here. In this example, a basic example here, PPO and HMO plan. And I'll bring up all this pertinent information for them to review here about their different costs and enrollment options. And all this information is certainly up to you as the client as far as what we want to have built out here for employees to view. It looks like another question came in here. Do the forms and the other items such as an I-9 come in Spanish? You can certainly, we don't have the Spanish form configured as far as the I-9, but we can certainly add that in and do that configuration. And as far as other Spanish functionality, we do have Spanish functionality. You can set the language preference to Spanish. We can have those announcements back on the employee self-service homepage show up in Spanish as well for those Spanish-speaking employees. As we see back here that I'm just navigating back to, we can have this show up for employees in Spanish, as well as all the different change events that employees can go through, benefits enrollment, and all those different qualified events here that we build in. We can have those instructions show up in Spanish as well, but that's really the extent of it as far as on the employee self-service homepage. But as far as the I-9, we can certainly, we don't have it currently, the Spanish I-9, but we can certainly add that into the system as well. So great questions. Please feel free to keep typing those in, and I'll address those as I see them. So then here, after doing that comparison here, learning about her benefit options, this is where Rachel can come back to the change events area. So here we have the enrollment event available for the employee to go through here, and then in the drop-down here, just some examples of different qualified life events that we can standardize outside of just normal open enrollment or new hire events. But again, just examples here where there can be more events built out or less than this built into the system. But key feature, any of these different events here that we do set up can be set up to require an administrative approval before actually getting automatically saved into the system. So anything as simple as an address change for an employee, if they go through this event here, we can make that then go to the administrator to review. And then upon approval by the admin, it will then get saved into the system and saved to the employee record there. So any of these events, anything as far as open enrollment as well or new hire events, can be set up to require that approval. So here Rachel's going to go ahead and begin this process here. So first tab of information is going to be for her, excuse me, to go ahead and select or update her personal information. She can click on that edit button to update anything. Next tab here, dependents. So I've already added her dependents for time's sake, but Rachel can go ahead and add her dependents if she has any. She can certainly edit or delete current dependents on file as well. Then here on the benefits tab, excuse me, this is where the core of this event is going to take place, where the employee to actually make their different elections. So here's where all that logic that we build into the system upon implementation will apply. It's only going to be showing Rachel the benefits that she's actually eligible for here on the left-hand side. So this is, well, again, the different instructions, all this information, getting back to that Spanish question, all this plan information or the enrollment screen information can be showed up and configured in Spanish as well. But here, all this information is just set up on the administrative side when we're building out the package, different information about the different plans and links to different documentation there. Also here, different videos we can embed here. We have a library of stock videos, benefit-related videos to choose from. But you also can embed different custom videos if you have a company video or maybe a video from your benefit carrier that you want to attach here and for employees to view here when they're going through this process. And then as far as different information here, the different plans here that Rachel's eligible for, PPO and HMO, and then the different coverage lines is going to show Rachel, which are simply going to correlate with her dependents on file. So simply if Rachel was single with no dependents in the system, it's only going to show the employee-only coverage line there. All these other coverage options will not show up, just taking up that room for human error for Rachel to accidentally enroll an employee plus spouse if she is single. And then as far as cost information here, how it's being displayed, it's certainly up to you as well as far as how we want that displayed. We can leave it as it's showing here as far as showing the premium cost, the employer portion there, and then the employee cost. If we just want to show the employee cost information, for example, we can certainly do so as well. We can turn off these columns with a very simple check of a box. So here, Rachel will go ahead and start to make her different benefit elections here. As we noticed, it won't allow her to click ahead to any benefit without actually saving and continuing and making an election. And it will save the employee's place in the enrollment event. So if Rachel has to log out and come back at a later time, she's able to pick up right where she left off when she logs back in next. So I'll go start to make my different elections here for Rachel. As we'll notice here, it'll update that running total as I'm making my different elections here. Obviously, there's a sample benefit package that I'm showing with my demonstration account here, but we'll build in all those different eligibility rules, waiting period rules, and your specific benefit structure there. And, under the voluntary employee life benefit here within my demonstration account, as we see, if we have any evidence of insurability requirements over a certain issue amount for any benefits like this, we can certainly build in that EOI requirement over that issue amount here in this example, $50,000 in coverage there. And we can attach an EOI form for the employee to be able to download here right through the enrollment event. And then they can go ahead and fill this out and then hand it to your HR administrator. Otherwise, if the carrier does allow them to fill that out online, we can certainly just put that link there. It can go to the carrier website for them to fill it out electronically. And if the employee, and if an employee does go over that threshold there, this will be an event that pending administrative approval. Once you as the admin hear back from the carrier, you get that approval for the EOI, we can go ahead and update that or approve that event within the system. It'll then update in the system and also send off that appropriate, that new coverage amount to the benefit carrier, and then also for payroll as well for that new deduction amount. So while that's pending, it's going to pend the employee to the highest available coverage amount without the EOI requirement there. I'll just breeze through these last couple benefits here for Rachel for her to quickly make her election, save and continuing here. Next tab will be the beneficiaries. Any benefits that do require them that they've enrolled in, it'll require them to define their beneficiaries and then allocate those percentages accordingly. So as we see, it does default dependent to available beneficiaries. They can certainly add one or a trust from the screen. And then simply anything above or below 100% for the primary or secondary beneficiary allocations will result in a simple error message and not let the employee continue until they equal exactly 100%. Again, taking out that room for human error there. Emergency contacts does not have to be added in here, but it can certainly be added as a requirement for the employee to confirm their their emergency contact information, either during open enrollment or through a new hire event. It'll then have the employee be able to review all the information they just inputted in the system, all their different elections they just made here. Everything's accurate. If they do need to change anything, they can just simply click back on that corresponding tab to do so. But otherwise, they can go ahead and hit save and confirm after reviewing. It's going to get one more binding confirmation here. And now it's going to bring them to the confirmation screen here. In my demonstration account, nothing has gone for administrative approval. The event's now just been recorded. Now I've just gotten an email statement as far as a confirmation statement emailed to me. But as well, the employee will have access to that at any point in time through their employee portal. But here I did just receive this email here with that PDF confirmation statement. And this is just one example of the different types of statements that we can have generated. Just one example here. But again, these can be certainly accessed at any point in time through the employee self-service portal or also emailed out by an administrator as well. And there's a question coming in, what happens if an employee doesn't complete all of the enrollment process? Is there a time limit? Yeah, so there would be an enrollment window that you have, and I'll show on the administrative side how you can quickly run a report to see what employees have not completed or even started open enrollment, or what employees have started the process but are not completely done. But you would create that open enrollment window that you have for that event to be available for your employees to go through. But you can easily run a report here that I'll show momentarily when we get over to the administrative side of the system to quickly see a breakdown as far as who's completed open enrollment, who hasn't even started, and then what employees have started but not completed the process. As well here, once the employee has that benefits history, they can come here to generate their statements at any point in time. So here's where I can generate that benefit statement, that confirmation statement that we just saw. Also, we can have the total compensation or total reward statements available for your employees as well. So this breaks down what their total compensation is, taking into account their salary, but also then all those benefits that you're providing to this employee on an annual basis. It's going to break all of those down here for the employee on the annual basis. And then at the bottom here, give a nice graphical breakdown to really drive home the value of those benefits that are being provided to this employee as well, what their total compensation is from your organization, taking into those benefits into account there. And this also can be emailed out by an administrator as well, and certainly optional. You don't have to use the total compensation statements. So for this new hire now, probably has to start tracking her time within the organization here. So within time and labor management, this is where Rachel can start to track her time with the company. So we do have a variety of different ways of gathering time data from your employees. We do integrate with physical biometric clocks with a fingerprint scan, card swipe, or a 4-digit PIN. Also, as we see here, we have the web punch from the computer that the employees can go ahead and clock in with a web punch. And we are releasing our mobile application, the first version here in the coming weeks. It'll have that functionality for employees to punch in and punch out through the mobile app. They also, through the mobile application, can see their time off balances, submit requests to their managers, see benefit statements and pay stubs if applicable. So we can certainly are very excited about that mobile application coming out here within the coming weeks. That's going to have that different functionality there. Also, though, we do have the electronic timesheet allocation as well. If it's just tracking total hours worked as well through a timesheet on the honor system, we do have that here. And that's where the employees under the view/manage time link here, that's where they can review their time clock cards or fill out their electronic timesheet. They can submit it to managers, leave comments about different discrepancies or maybe missed punches, and then actually submit them for approval to their managers. Then as far as the time off tracking here, the view/request time off, this is where employees can come to see their different leave balances. So again, just examples here as far as leave types. We'll build in those different leave types that you do offer your employees. And then using our same eligibility engine that we use for our benefits module, we can build in those different time off accrual policies or rules that you have within the organization. Again, determining what type of time off employees are eligible for, what rates are they accruing time off at, is it based on tenure, how long do they need to be employed with the company before they actually start accruing. We can build all of that in, so as employees come here to check their balances, they're seeing that updated in real time accurately. Then also from here, they can submit a request to their manager, see a calendar of their team members as far as who has time off approved already or requested, see if it even makes sense for them to submit a request. And again, as far as the workflow management module, whenever a time off request is submitted, approved, all those different actions can kick off different workflows as well that we have built out. Then also any manager is going to have these additional links here within time and labor management to manage and approve their team's time clock cards or timesheets, make managerial edits, send emails to employees about their time clock cards or time and attendance information, and then approve them as well to get that information ready for payroll. And then also to review those time off requests that are submitted by their employees there, approve or deny them. They can see a calendar for their team and with other managers' calendars as well if you'd like to give the managers that access. That's where they can see all of their employees' time off information here from the manager perspective. And also here, performance management. So this is where we have a variety of different features within this module that, again, can simply be turned on or off depending on what we want to use here. So I have everything turned on within the module here. So as far as goal setting, within performance management, we can have different organizational objectives or goals set for a particular time frame, if it's for a year or for a quarter, whatever the case may be. And then we can set different key performance indicators that are tied to those overall organizational objectives that are then assigned out to the different managers within your organization. Those managers then can assign out goals to their employees that are tied to their KPIs, driving those overall organizational objectives that are set. So we can use this as a year-round coaching tool for your employees and managers to use here, and we can certainly tie these goals into the performance review process as well. Also, we have the performance log feature here. This is from the employee perspective. The performance log can have different notes left by the employee's manager or a system administrator that can either be hidden from the employee view or also visible to the employee and actually require acknowledgement. So you can have that audit trail, forcing the employee to come into their portal, check off on this box, and then acknowledge that note here. And then it's going to have that date stamp as far as when that employee did acknowledge the note. So you can always have that good audit trail for any type of performance-related issues. And and as far as audit trails go as well, any type of change made within InfinityHR, whether it's to a time clock punch, a benefit change, address change, all going to get captured in an audit log, so you can always look back to see what user made that change, date and time the change was made, and then as far as the before and after, as far as the actual data change as well. Also, my training and achievement here, so with a lot of folks on the line here being from construction, if there's a lot of different, if there's a lot of different licenses or certifications that you're tracking for employees or training items, if it's safety training, things of that nature, we can build all those different items in. There's a customizable catalog you can build in. These are just example items that I have here. So we can track that issued or achieved date as far as that training item, license, or whatever the case may be. And if that item does require renewal and it expires, we can go ahead and track that expiration date here. And in the form of a workflow, we can automate a renewal process. We're able to tell the system X number of days before this expiration date, we want this particular workflow to kick off. And that's where we can have that workflow built in to notify the manager of the employee, the administrator, whoever that might need to go to, back to the employee to let them know what they need to do to get renewed or recertified. So we can automate that process, so make sure no one's out of compliance with a license that expired or a certification, for example. couple different questions that have come in here. Can you attach a document to this performance review? I'm going to get to the performance review here in a moment. You can actually build in your customizable review forms. If it's referring to the performance log, you can certainly attach documentation to that as far as those performance-related notes, absolutely. And then as far as another question here, confirming that all time entry will be able to be costed to the job, cost code, and category levels. That is correct. With our advanced time and labor management and time and attendance, we can have different projects or cost centers built into the system for employees to be able to track their time, whether it be on a timesheet or through that clocking in through a physical clock or through the web punch. They can select from those different projects or cost center allocations to track their time against when they're inputting their time in the system. Absolutely. So great questions. Please keep them coming, and I'll address those as I see those come in here. And then here within the My Reviews tab is where an employee can actually go through a performance review here. So within the system, you can build in customizable performance review forms, and we can have self-evaluations for employees or managers, or also a combined employee and manager review as well. So here from the My Reviews tab is going to be Rachel as an employee. So you can see her different performance review history, as well as actually going through a new review process. So for any historical review as well, it allows employees to print off PDF copies of that review form if they wanted to print off a hard copy or download it to their desktop, whatever the case may be. They can download that if they want to review it with their manager, for example, or the manager wanted to do so. And here's an actual new review. And keep in mind, again, this is just a an example here. We can certainly build those in. They're really customizable as far as what you want employees to go through, what competencies, if we're tying in goals, position goals, personal goals. So really up to you here. As far as my example, has a quick profile page here of the employee as far as years of service, hire date, current manager, current position, what her current job duties are in that current position, and then the position history summary here as well. As far as competencies, and again, just an example here as far as how we want this review weighted, what we want the scoring legend to be, and the scoring setup. It's all customizable when we're building out these different review forms that you might have there. And as far as these competencies as well, these are all user-defined, just examples as far as these categories and underlying competencies here. So they can go ahead and score each competency. There can be required comments here. I don't have, for this record, comments required, but you can require the employer or manager to leave a comment if you want to have them give an example or maybe just some substance as far as why they scored a particular competency that way. You can certainly require comments to be left by the employer or manager as well. And so on and so forth. They'll fill out this whole review. I won't take us through it all here. Again, just an example. It can look a lot differently as far as what you want your review process to be. But once they go through that whole review process and save and submit, that's when they'll get that final score, and then they can come back here once completing the review and click on this link here once they've completed the review to sign it, and it's going to have that date stamp as far as when it was signed by the employer or manager there. And we can set up multiple different schedules as well within the performance management module. If there's a quarterly review process for one type of employee and then a yearly review process for another, a 90-day review for new hires, we can set all those up within the system to automate those, again, in the form of workflows as well. And then as far as on the management tab here, this is where the performance managers can manage their employees' performance as far as seeing their goals, updating skills, training and achievement items, actually going through the performance reviews on their employees and seeing that history, and then actually that performance log feature as well. Just to go back, I believe that question was more centered around the performance log aspect. When we do create a new note here, our performance log note, we can go ahead and leave that note. We can have user-defined different categories for the types of notes we're leaving within the performance log, attach any supporting documentation, and then again, we can hide it from the employee view or actually require acknowledgement by the employee as well. So that concludes what I wanted to show on the employee and manager self-service portal. I don't see any additional questions coming in as of right now on this portion. So I'm going to go ahead and get logged in as a system administrator so we can start going over that interface there. So any employee can be made into an administrator within the InfinityHR system, and each different admin can have different permission settings as far as what employees they have access to, what type of data, and what type of data that they can change. You can make things read-only for administrators if you want them to have access to the information but not be able to change anything. So here they're going to log into that same URL, infinityhr.com, and see this interface that we're seeing here. As far as a system summary, any new hires they need to process, terminated employees, upcoming birthdays, things of that nature there. Also, any notes requiring follow-up that the administrator has left on an employee's record, they can mark that it requires follow-up. So it's always going to show up here on the summary page to keep top of mind for the administrator until they go back and follow up on that note. As well, the admin can go to their personal employee homepage there to manage their self-service portal. We have some different tabs here. As far as alerts, the system is going to scan every day for different alerts going on and populate here once it does that scan to bring to the attention of the admin or administrators as well. So I have some just general alerts here populated in my demonstration account as far as employees locked out of their account and things of that nature. But we also can have those different benefits related alerts are going to populate here as well. If a dependent's over the age for a plan, or if a employee is no longer eligible for a benefit they're enrolled in, or now they're now eligible for an additional benefit, those different alerts are going to populate here to bring to your administrator's attention. And once we click into that record count, we can see what employee or employees are falling under this particular alert. We click on the employee's name. It's going to bring us into that appropriate part of their employee record to see what's going on to rectify the issue here in this example to help us unlock their account there. And then as far as events pending approval, again, any of those change events that we can set up within the employee self-service portal can be set up to require this administrative approval here. So once the employee does go through the event on the portal there, they're going to come here and it's going to populate here for the administrative approval. We can see the employee's name, date and time that the event was submitted by the employee, and then what the actual event was. Again, anything as simple as an address change can require this approval. So if we click on the employee's name there, in step number 1, we can go ahead and review a before and after as far as what the data change was. If we need to kick off a workflow for the employee to sign off on a document or whatever the case may be, we can go ahead and make sure we have everything that we need here for this change event. And in step number 2, here's where we can actually approve or deny this event. So we can go ahead and include an email that's sent to the employee here. It populates a generic email, but we also can certainly customize that. If there's anything specific we wanted the employee to know about the event as well. And if this is a benefits-related event, we can go ahead and leave this checkbox marked here for an updated benefit statement to be emailed out to the employee as well. So once I go ahead and submit and approve this event, it'll get saved into the system on the employee's record. So as far as where employee data is housed within the application, it's all going to be under the employee dropdown here. And right here, we can do a quick search by employee name or employee identification number here to search for an employee. Also, we have the advanced search filters here as well to use these different filters to look for specific employees or employee groups by department, location, manager, statuses, for example, here, a lot of different filters there. Then once you are on an employee, everything in this dropdown will be for this employee we're selected on. So here we're on Rachel still, on her profile page here. It gives a dashboard of some core data for your administrator to quickly view here as far as contact information, that profile picture, different employment information, statuses, hire date, manager, department, position history, salary history here, time off summary as far as different leave balances, performance review history, benefit information here, what they're currently enrolled in, what plan and what coverage level. So a snapshot of some core data here to see on this profile dashboard for your administrators. Then here, still selected on Rachel, all this other information here in the employee dropdown is going to be for Rachel. As far as her demographics, those different notes that we want to access or leave new notes as an admin. As far as documents here, if we need to access any of those onboarding documents, where I can go ahead and download any of those documents that Rachel just signed off on or that she uploaded to the workflow step. and we can add new documents there as well. Again, there's no type of document storage limit within InfinityHR as far as employee documentation. Also, emergency contacts, company assets we might want to track if it's cell phones, things of that nature. Any OSHA injury and illness reports as well. We can generate OSHA Form 301 here, house it on the employee record, and then we have our standard OSHA 300 reporting. Benefit information, all for different benefit information, a little more granular information there and specific info as far as being able to send out a benefit statement as well to Rachel, see her dependents, beneficiary information, compensation if we're tracking that here within the system. HR data here is nice. As far as workflows go, any type of workflow that the employee's ever gone through in the past or is currently involved in, we can always go in and look into that workflow. So if we want to see how Rachel's coming along with her onboarding, for example, we can go ahead and click into the workflow, see when the last step was completed, who's assigned to the next step. If we need to change that on the fly here as an admin, we can go ahead and do so as well. So this is where we can get all that information here on an employee level, also any type of reports on the workflow that we're selected on here. But this can also be on a company level as well within the actual workflow module. If we have a lot of employees going through the same workflow, we can get all that data for all those employees at once as well. Recruiting information copied over from the applicant tracking system as well. If she was hired through there, automatically going to get copied over when she's hired. Performance information, all of her skills, goals, training, achievement, reviews. Then all of her time and labor management information here as well, accessible from the administrative perspective. Then lastly here, the employee homepage. I can view Rachel's homepage just as she would. Nice feature here if we need to walk the employee through an issue or make sure something's showing properly on their portal. We can go ahead and see Rachel's portal just as she is seeing it as well. And as far as that audit log here, you can always, again, look back on any change that's made in the system here through that audit trail. And as far as reports go, the InfinityHR system does come pre-built with over 200 standard reports that can automatically export data to PDF or Excel documents, as we see here down below with workflows. We have these standard reports within each module as well as on a company level, which is right here under the Reports tab. So under the Employee dropdown, we have general reports, different demographic dashboards, time manager and performance manager hierarchies or organizational charts. Just to give you an idea, those general reports here again, we can go ahead and export to a PDF or an Excel document, and we can filter by a point in time for these different reports here by putting in that date range. As well, here's that status summary report that I referenced earlier, back to that question about the time frame on the open enrollment. So here's a nice report you can quickly run as an admin here. If it's open enrollment time, we can go ahead and select that event here from the drop-down. And quickly here with one click, we can get that breakdown as far as what employees have not even started open enrollment at all, what employees are completely done with the event, and then again, what employees have started but are not completely done with open enrollment here. So we can quickly click on that record count to see the list of employees or export it to a PDF or an Excel document. Also, what's nice here, we can go ahead and draft an email that's sent out to all of these group of employees under a particular status to send them a friendly reminder here to go ahead and complete open enrollment before that time frame closes. Also different compliance reports, EEO1, VETS 4212 reporting there. And as far as with benefits management, again, all these are going to come standard out of the box with the system, different participation summary reports, enrollment rosters, carrier billing reports, general reports on the benefits package. So all these different reports are going to come standard with the system. Then we do have our ad hoc exporting tool for any type of custom reports that you might want to build out as far as being able to select on what data fields, do any type of filtering and formatting. And then best feature of that custom report writer can set up a recurring schedule. You can define who that report's getting sent out to, and then what the frequency of that report is as well. If it's every day, first of the month, whatever the case may be, you can set up that recurring schedule for that report as well. Then here under the settings tab is where all the different setups going to happen within the different modules. So really won't get too much into detail here as we want to keep it high level for the presentation today. But here's where we can go ahead and add those different links on the employee portal, those different documents, ACA module. We can see different alerts as far as variable hour employees if they're full-time equivalents. We can offer them medical coverage through the system, have them go through that ACA event to enroll in that qualified medical coverage or waive coverage. Also generate those 1094 and 1095B and C forms, and also the ability to e-file right here through the InfinityHR application with the IRS Air system. Benefits, building out your package here, workflows, building out those different processes that we want to automate, performance management, building out those reviews and training items, things of that nature. So here's where we're going to build out all those different modules here that you're going to be using within the InfinityHR system. Lastly, here we have the data, the ad hoc exporting tool. So there's going to be two main functions occurring here within this tool. First off is where we're going to create the electronic files that are speaking with your benefit carriers to gather that initial enrollment data, and then the updates to that enrollment data to send off on an automated basis in HIPAA 834 format. We do have established relationships with over 300 different benefit carriers today who are electronically receiving files from InfinityHR. Also, you can create your custom reports, as I mentioned previously here. Also, it's nice here, we can have a some quick Excel exports that are hard-coded. It's quickly getting an export of your benefit deductions or time off balances, benefit census, or just a quick export of all your employees out of the system. We have those hard-coded here through the ad hoc tool to quickly get that data exported out of the system there. I know we are coming into about the time we had scheduled for the presentation. I'd like to again thank everyone for your attendance today and your time. If there are additional questions, please feel free to type those in to that chat box there, and we can certainly address those questions now. But as well, Pat and Nick will be following up with everyone here on the call. So if there are additional questions that do come up after the presentation today, they can certainly follow up with those. But again, I'd like to thank everyone for your time. I'll stay on here for the next couple minutes to see if there's any additional questions that come in. But again, thank you everyone for your attendance today, and I hope everyone has a great day. Alrighty, I don't see any additional questions coming in yet. So again, if any questions do come up, Pat and Nick will be following up with everyone. But again, thank you everyone for your time today. I hope everyone has a great rest of the week.